So welcome, Christina, to the Agentic Marketer. This is our new show where we talk about how CMO powerhouses are really embracing this agentic era. Christina Scarmeas, she's the CMO of Mogli. Can you start just by telling us about yourself and about Mogli and your charter?
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much, Maura. Hey, everybody. Christina from Mogli. A lot of folks might know me as Tina. Mogli is born here in beautiful Colorado, USA. I'm actually in Boulder right now. We're celebrating our 14th birthday at Mogli. And at Mogli, our mission is simple. We make text messaging easier on Salesforce. We started off in a rural farm town in Kenya, and fast forward 14 years later, and we bring text messaging to organizations all across the world, from small mom and pop nonprofit organizations to professional sports teams and universities. And Mogli is really excited to continue to develop our app, especially in this era of agentic marketing.
Awesome. And so you've been at Mogli, you said, for about 4 years, or how long have you been with the company?
Yeah, for about 4 years, and we're growing and scaling, and I've had an opportunity to really watch our customers do incredible things.
Okay. And then within those last 4 years, I mean, the playbook has changed, which is what we want to talk about today. And you're
Yeah.
obviously a seasoned marketing leader before those 4 years at Mogli. You've been at a ton of great companies in the Salesforce ecosystem. But today we want to talk about kind of how are you adapting to this new era? So I think to get started, we have all these new terms running around. What we're really excited at Qualified is this idea of agentic marketing. How are you infusing agents into your workflow to accelerate pipeline generation? How do you define agentic marketing? It's kind of this new category that's up and coming.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I view it as something really simple. Just it's productive and it's an outcome-driven partner that really does support my human marketing teams and my pipeline teams to serve up really personalized experiences with the entire goal of driving our revenue growth.
Mm-hmm. And so bringing those agents kind of onto the team. And I know you have a strong perspective about seeing agents as really like an ability to augment your team versus replace the team. So we'll get into all of that. And you've been kind of on the forefront of embracing this new technology. I think there are some marketers who are, it's scary out there, and there's agents and there's AI, and what are the tools I should invest in? What's kind of fluff? What's going to really move the needle? So how is agentic AI kind of showing up in your marketing team today? Where did you invest in first?
Yeah. So right now, today at Mogli and my amazing marketing team, it's really most visible right with our SDR, Taylor, who was formerly known as Piper. Taylor showed up just about 4 months ago, and she is right there lockstep with us, arm in arm with our pipeline team. She does everything from qualifying our prospects and booking meetings. She also interacts with existing customers, which has been really, really a wonderful add-on to that experience. She's just been really instrumental in helping us uncover some buyer intelligence that I think, honestly, I've tried for years to harness, and we just couldn't crack it. So that has been such a welcome, awesome addition to have Taylor on our team.
Okay, that's awesome. So you have kind of like humans who are using the qualified application, and then you've added Taylor into the fold to help them scale. As you thought about kind of inserting an agent onto your team, why did you start with the website? There's a ton of places where you can go. Like, as a marketer, what's your view on the website and the opportunity that kind of presents for an agent to help you really fuel that whole motion?
Yeah, so I look at our website, Mogli.com, as almost like our front door of Mogli. And, we aren't available at our front door 24/7 a day across the entire global time zones. So that was where we decided, let's get started there. Like, while our human teammates and my AI SDR Taylor, she's great, but my human SDRs, T and TJ, I got to give them a shout out. They're amazing. They provide exceptional service. Our customer success team really, really is focused on that wonderful Mogli touch, but we're only as good as the hours that those teammates are on during their specific time zones. So that meant that at 10:45 p.m. Eastern time, when our prospective buyers and the ones with the high intent were actually on the couch, looking up, best Salesforce text messaging solution on Salesforce and they came to Mogli, we weren't able to give them that special Mogli touch. And that's when we knew, okay, this is where we really need to get some help here. And that's why we started with the website.
I think you nailed it. I mean, we talk about it all the time that our website is a front door to the business. Everything we're doing from a marketing perspective is designed to drive traffic there. And then when a buyer shows up and like they get a no one is available right now, it's frankly not acceptable in today's age. I feel like a few years ago, you'd fill out a form, you knew that was kind of the old process. But in 2025, it's like there's got to be a better way to engage these folks, convert these folks. So I'm super excited that you guys have leaned into Taylor as your AI SDR agent. And it's also fun. I would love to ask you, how did you guys land on Taylor? Because we call our agent Piper because she generates pipeline, but we have all these customers, which I think we almost didn't even anticipate how fun this exercise would be. Choosing the agent that represents their brand. Box has Bella, Greenhouse has Daisy. So what led you guys to Taylor? How'd you end up there?
So there was this thing going on over the last 2 years, and this is for all of like the Swifties out there. I'm a Swiftie, and it was something that my marketing,
who isn't? I love it.
And we just decided, you know what? We were having fun with it, Maura. We were going through a really fun, hard, and strategic change in our game plan, and we said, let's have fun with this. And I'm one of those nutty, crazy, proud Swifties that went to 3 Eras tours all over the world with my daughter, and we jumped right in. So, and Taylor is just a fun, joyful, it's fun to say her name. And thanks to my marketing team for letting me have fun with that.
I love that. Okay, I love hearing these stories. It's really, because everybody's different. Some people have contests with their teams, like they have polls. It's really fun. I'm curious when you had kind of, you have your sales reps who are using the qualified application. You brought Taylor onto the team to help you scale your pipe gen. And I think a lot of CMOs who I talk to, they love the idea, right? An AI agent who can help like scale my pipe gen motion, who can greet all of my website visitors, who can do follow-up, who can really fuel that inbound motion. But I also have a lot of CMOs ask me like, how do I get started? Like, how do I get my humans on board with this change? So how did you you guys are 4 months in, talk about like change management. How did you guys kind of approach that?
Yeah, so we knew that it was really important to not just, I think oftentimes, my team, we own the tech stack, the pipeline tech stack across Mogli. And we didn't want to just drop a new strategy or a new tool onto the teams that Piper would be supporting. So what we did is, and I really want to credit one of my amazing team members, Vanessa, she made sure that at the very beginning, at the very start, even before we started implementing, that we really brought in our stakeholders and the organization. And sure, that's leadership, of course, but it was actually my human BDR team, T and TJ especially, that were instrumental in making sure that they knew, listen, like number one, this is not going to replace you. The design here is to really enhance your superpowers that you have and have you actually spend your time on the things that we really need you to do, that really high value time that we don't really want you like messing around on website chat. So having our team members across the pipeline org be involved from the start, be able to offer their insight, be involved in the process, in the framework, even in the testing of Taylor that we ended up really having a lot of fun with. And that was really an interesting part of our onboarding as well, but having them involved. So it wasn't just given to the team. It was really, we took the time to put together a framework and a strategy with all of our folks that would be interacting with this teammate who really did become part of the Mogli team.
That's incredible. And I think that crawl, walk, run and outlining that framework and getting everybody bought in from your sales team to your marketing team early on and seeing this is just going to help us hit our targets. This isn't going to compete with you. Like, let's all embrace it, I think is a key mindset. So once you guys had Taylor kind of up and running, and I would also love to hear about your experience, just how did that work? Because that's also something that I think is scary to CMOs. It's like, okay, yeah, I want to hire this agent onto my team, but I know it's not just going to be like set it and forget it. So tell me about like that implementation process, and were there any light bulbs that made you guys really lean into like, okay, this is a great addition to our team. This is helping us scale.
Yeah. So we really took implementation and onboarding Piper as one of our human team members. And we took a lot of the framework that we already do with our onboarding at Mogli, and implemented that right with her. A lot of that required the carving out of the time of the stakeholders in the organization to spend time with Taylor, to be able to work with Taylor, to train Taylor, and bringing our teams together to really uncover the missing link that Taylor was going to help us forge together on, Mogli.com. One of the biggest things that the key takeaways was that you can't run in without any strategy or framework. We really had to set time, and we're 4.5 months in. We still have dedicated time every week to test, to cross-check Taylor's conversations, and to uncover data and try to see, okay, are we getting everything here? And what ways can we continue to expand the work that Taylor is already doing to support our human teammates?
That's awesome. And then I know you guys have been working hand in hand with Janice, your qualified success architect.
We
So
love
like,
Denise. Yes.
tell me about that experience, because
Yeah.
I think that's also a key thing, is like not feeling like you're in it alone.
Janice has been with us at Mogli for years, and she really was and still is. She's an extension of our team, and that change is hard, and I think a change like this is huge. I think this is probably going to be one of those moments when I look back in my career and I say, wow, I remember when that whole agentic marketing thing really was getting off and going. And it was I was intimidated. I came from the days of doing funnel math on Post-it notes, and, have evolved to meet my customers where they are in this buying journey. And we were nervous, and Janice really helped us get that framework, get that strategy together. And she was right there with us. And not just with the marketing team. She has been able to really partner directly with my account executives, be able to partner with our sales op folks to ensure that they are empowered to have the information that they need to not only best use the data and insights that we're getting from our SDR agent, but to really understand why that data is important. She's been a great partner in the overall framework and strategy, and we're so grateful for her.
That's fantastic. She's incredible. And I think having that partner is key for any company that you invest in, to bring an agent on your team, to have somebody to help guide you. Would love, before we kind of zoom out and talk more just about this entire movement, would love to talk about results. Like, how has Taylor, your AI SDR agent, helped you scale? How has it helped you be more successful as a CMO? What are the metrics you're holding her accountable for? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so it's all about impact, right? Revenue impact. And for me, one of the things that I really looked at just that first month, I didn't want to get lost in the weeds. I'm the type of person that really will get lost into the data and try to dig in. And we decided, let's just follow the conversion funnel. Let's just watch and see what Piper does. And we went from the conversions that were initiated, the conversations that were initiated, the conversations that our visitors on Mogli.com engaged in, and then the meetings that were booked directly. And then it was really interesting because I found that it wasn't just the fact that the coverage was expanded for my human BDRs. It was really that the net new, like high performing pipeline channel was ultimately created by Piper. And that was really, really neat to see. In like the first 3 months, it's sort of crazy. Half of the leads that we were generating just on that channel alone were converting. And that's really incredible. And in the first 60 days, I had an over 44% in pipeline, which is incredible. It's a brand new channel. So well worth the investment. And I can't wait to see how it keeps growing.
Adding 44% in pipeline, that's like a marketer's dream. And the fact that it can happen while you're sleeping sometimes. And
I know.
That's any indication within the first 3 months of what you guys can continue to unlock. I'm super excited to see kind of where this all goes. Would love to understand, just talking to fellow marketers, not just specifically about Piper, the AI SDR agent, but as you kind of embrace this agentic marketing movement and you bring agents onto your team and you look at your future org chart of how they can kind of complement the humans you have in place, who needed convincing internally? How did you get your team on board with this new strategy? Did anybody push back? Because I think right now there is a lot of pressure tops down to implement AI, but then there are some folks who are a little hesitant, right? It can be scary. It's change. So tell me about that process and any advice you might have for anybody listening of how you approached it and kind of got this up and running.
Yeah, I think, one of the biggest things that we celebrate at Mogli is just, our commitment to our customers, and our culture is centered around that. Our core values are our compass every single day, especially empathy and hustle and tenacity. And knowing that when we would have a new tool like Piper be available on Mogli.com to not just serve interested buyers, but also our existing clients who trust and partner with us, there was, I don't want to say resistance, but it was a little bit of concern that, I don't know, Tina, how is this going to work when a client, chats in and she's not going to know like the background? And I said, just let's wait and see. And by being transparent and really including the entire team into the training and the onboarding of Taylor, where we really, really worked hard to make sure that our core, our ethos of our culture, of our commitment to our customers, the commitment to empathy and to the drive to get results fast were reflective. And that has been, the results are really encouraging. Taylor's starting to take on a lot of that personality, and she's complementing the human interaction that my amazing team members across the org are handed off to. So it was, I don't want to say there was resistance. It was more of like a little bit of, ooh, how are we going to do this? A little hesitation. And we worked together as a team, and it really helped to get buy-in across the entire org.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you're so right, because I think we all have, I had that hesitation, and it's the product we sell, but I was like, listen, this is the front door. When folks come here, like I'm very obsessed with brand consistency and every touch point just being flawless. And it is a lot of trust to give that over to an agent. But I think you're right. Like the time you put into onboarding and shaping and testing and fine tuning, that will pay off in spades. And I think your concept of this being a teammate and somebody who complements is really where this is all going. I know you're excited about kind of the future. We talked about bringing Piper into Slack, into your collaboration channels. Like, tell me about where you think this whole agentic movement is going and what excites you about some of these kind of new unlocks.
So I don't know about you guys, but our entire team lives in Slack. That is our number one, like that is not just a productivity platform. That's like where we live and breathe. And especially in the sales and marketing team, we're in constant collaboration. I'm, slacking our AEs about, hey, did you see this come in? How can I support you here? My BDRs are working with our AEs on call plans. And I just think the possibility of being able to have Taylor right there as our teammate who our AEs can Slack and say, hey, tell me a little bit more about this call coming up. She's going to be able to do it. And that right there it's just making it easier. We live in Slack and we live inside of Salesforce, and bringing those two together. I mean, that's orchestration. That's music to my ears.
I love that. I think it's all like I'm curious to see what this conversation would look like in 2026, 2027, 2028. Because right now this idea is so exciting, and we'll be like, of course you were able to collaborate with your agents, right?
I know.
I would love, just as you kind of look at your whole marketing initiative right now, and you guys are doing a ton of stuff at Mogli, and you're thinking about kind of opportunities to plug in AI and plug in agents. Do you have any like hot take about AI and AI and marketing that you think marketers wouldn't agree with? Because there's a lot of talk, a lot of swirl going on, and I think like there are a lot of opinions. So any hot takes there?
I don't know. I might get like my 16-and-a-half-year-old daughter be like, that's so cringy when I say this. But I think like one of the things is I'm hearing like, oh my gosh, like marketers need to embrace and the content generation, because it's the best and most valuable use case right now for AI. And it will allow you to expand your team and turn out emails and do all the things. And I don't think that's the most powerful use case right now for AI marketing. I think it really is the way that it can help us and be our partner in revealing gaps and nuances that honestly we've struggled with for years. I think about like the kind of content, for example, that my prospects and my customers want, rather than just churning out like, oh, like best practices for texting in Salesforce, right? Is that really the most valuable thing that's going to hit the mark? Now we're going to be able to tell using the buyer intelligence that our AI partners are showing that, hey, maybe this persona actually isn't going to touch that. Try this. And that's what I'm really, really excited about.
Mm-hmm. I think that content creation is just the easy place to go when it comes to AI and this transformation. But I think you're right. Like looking at your workflows throughout the day, garnering new data about your buyers. Even our CEO was like, his challenge to our executive team was go throughout your day to day and everything you go to do just because it's habit. Question, is there an AI tool I could use for that? Is there like, because I think to your point, like we all just get stuck in our ways about processes. And I think that's why the AI SDR agent movement's been exciting, because it's like, oh, there are some tasks there that are ripe for automation. So it's like, how do you look at kind of that low hanging fruit and start there versus try to like create magic when you actually need the human touch for certain things?
Absolutely.
One thing that's kind of woven into all of this, but you mentioned on LinkedIn recently, the importance of defining intelligence and the ethos of your agents. And you kind of talked about this with onboarding Piper, but just as you think about all of the AI your team's applying, the agents you're deploying, how do you make sure that those brand values are really, really carried throughout all of those interactions?
You know, we now have sort of our AI strike force, right? And that's really our commitment internally as a team to make sure that we just don't set it and forget it and do that magic wand onto AI and cross our fingers and hope that, okay, they're off and running, let's go. It's really that commitment across the team. For Piper, I took a lot of time with not just, our senior leadership team, but with our boots on the ground folks, and really looked at like, what are our rules of engagement going to be? How are we going to define those? I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted Piper to do, right? But I really also was like, oh my gosh, what don't I want Piper to even do? And one of the first things that we came to was, like, I don't necessarily think we're prepped and ready yet for Piper to touch pricing. And so we developed really refined and specific rules of engagement around just that. And we armed her with everything we possibly could about Mogli, about our core values. We trained her using language that we actually use. We trained her using language that our customers use. And that has really helped sort of give Piper the personality of not just this AI, hi, I'm your AI assistant. It's really she's turned into Taylor. And that has been really fun. But it's really the commitment to make sure that we're watching, just as we do and support our teams in weekly one-on-ones. I have like a half an hour one-on-one with Taylor right now. And I'm just cross-checking and making sure that everything is all set. I think that is definitely one of the ways that we're just making sure that everything stays on course and identifying neat new signals that she's providing as well.
Okay. I love that idea of a one-on-one with her. I
Yeah.
haven't heard that. We've of course talked about like bringing her onto your team, but like you're right. That's the way to think about it. You check in on your employees. You make sure that like they have the guidance they need and that they're delivering kind of the right standard of work. So I love that.
Yeah.
Tell me more about like how you think about kind of the balance between AI agents and human touch just for the customer journey, everything. And even as you guys think about kind of this S of S sphere, how do you think about the buying journey and when's the right time for AI versus human and still like maintaining a really great experience?
Yeah, I think like just the attention to detail to the experience really matters. And that's where it's like, I think we've all been in that moment where like an AI led touch point when you're texting something and you're texting like feedback or help on a text message, right? You get stuck perhaps in a loop that really is frustrating and you don't get your problem solved. And then you end up having a really icky experience. And that's why I think having systems and orchestration all in one place, empowering those seamless handoffs from your AI teammate to your human teammates is really important. So what I'm seeing and like what we're really happy about and what we're innovating at Mogli is an SMS-based AI agent that can detect the need for a human and then use that like prior conversation data and context to then be able to transition to that human. So it's a really seamless experience. And that human on the other side will never know that there was that handoff point.
I think you're exactly right, which is like you need to make sure your agent has all of your go-to-market data. You need to make sure they're delivering just a really human-like experience, just like an extension of the team. But they also have the intelligence to know, oh, a pricing question came up. That's best suited for a human. Or this person's clearly looking for feedback or support. Let's loop in that human agent. That kind of orchestration, I think, is the next big thing, both like agent to agent orchestration and agent to human orchestration, making sure it's not a jarring buying experience. As you think about kind of the B2B transformation that's happening right now, what do you think like a lot of B2B orgs will still get wrong about AI a year from now?
Yeah, I think we need to like be careful about viewing it as like our magic wand that, okay, this is my magic wand that's going to basically fix all of my crusty and old data and my fractured customer intelligence that then poof, it's going to magically fix it. And that all of the things that are broken in our business process will just magically disappear. And I think I don't think that we're going to still get it wrong. I think we're going to have to work really hard for that commitment to knowing that we're only as good as the data that we're feeding into our AI. So what you mentioned before about, powering our AI agents with every single piece of GTM intelligence that we possibly can. And that's not just like the brand guidelines to, personas and profiles there. It's everything in between. And if that data isn't clean and if it's incorrect, you got a problem and you're not leveraging that solution to its fullest. So I think that that's someplace where we're going to still have to deeply commit and be consistent about it.
Well, I think that's kind of a consistent thread throughout this whole conversation, which is the agents you deploy are only as good as the data upon which they're operating, the onboarding that you do for them, the oversight that you give them, the metrics you hold them accountable for. And so they can be wildly successful if you can kind of invest in that agent. Okay, Christina, so I want to go into our agentic marketing lightning round, which is always fun. So quick hits, hit me with what you got. So other than ChatGPT, what was one of the first AI tools you experimented with?
Gong and Chorus, and it was to identify like real-time buyer trends for my team.
Awesome. Marketers, I feel like, do not embrace some of that sales intelligence. We have enough, and there's a ton we can be doing with it. Most overrated buzzword in MarTech right now. There's a lot, but where do you want to go with this?
Don't hate me for this, but I'm going to say first-party data. We're so not there yet.
Okay. So tell me, because one of our favorite parts of the show is like finding out who are the other agentic marketers you're inspired by. So one marketer to follow who's ahead of the curve on AI.
I'm going to shout out Vanessa Reese on my team. She's my marketing ops guru, and she really is just an amazing AI strategic leader.
That's awesome. I find that a lot where like I'm learning way more from my own team about AI because they've got like their hands on all the new technology. Okay, shout out Vanessa. Okay, so if you could automate one part of your life outside of work, what would it be?
Sending my firstborn off to college in 25 days. That would be it.
All the crate and barrel trips, all of it. Teaching how to do laundry, all of those things.
Yes.
Okay, well, Christina, this is awesome. I would love to just close out with like, what makes you excited to be a CMO in this agentic marketing era right now? What fires you up?
What's so exciting to me is I think finally marketing teams and pipeline teams are going to be able to step out of being taskmasters and really be strategic partners and work on the strategy and the orchestration without getting into the weeds and the manual processes. And I'm really, really, really looking forward to that. The strategy behind the orchestration is everything. And that fosters creativity and innovation, which we don't get a chance to do as much as we want to because of all of those task mastering. I want to say days, maybe weeks that we're stuck into it. So yeah, that's what makes me most excited.
It's exciting. We're like writing this whole new playbook right now for marketing, and kind of, you're right. It's giving us all of this time back to think about some of the more fun parts of marketing that you can only do if you're hitting your pipeline targets, which agents can help achieve.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Agentic Marketer. This was really fun. I loved hearing about the creation of Taylor, the success with her, and just your overall vision on agentic marketing and where it's going. So thank you so much, Christina.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.